Joey Badass just released his newest album, 2000, and I think this is actually a really good album. I think this is probably one of the albums of the year. It might not be the best album of the year, but it's definitely up there. And I think there's a lot of good things about this album. I'm just going to start off with some general things. The callbacks using this album to talk about like New York and like New York legends and New York songs show how he's like still connected to New York and like deeply ingrained in the culture of where he grew up, and it still reflects in the way he like performs songs now. And intros and the outros of each song, they also add to the artistic experience in the album, but I feel like some people aren't going to get that because they just like the song for the playlist, which I still think there are a lot of good playlist songs on this. But either way, let's get it started with The Baddest. I really like this one. I like the piano production, and I feel like Joey really flows over like the stripped down beat, and the vocal sample with the woman also adds to the song, and the New York City callbacks. And there's some lyrical interpolations in the song that have some New York City callbacks. I think those are pretty great. Then we go to Make Me Feel. I think the beat goes really hard on this one because it fits just Joey's vocals, and Joey's vocals also are good. They talk about his upbringing and contrasting it with where he is now and like how different those two lives are. And I think Joey flows over the beat really well again. They're both up tempo and they just keep moving throughout the whole song. Then we go with Where I Belong. I think the production is great on this one, and I think that the verses are also pretty solid, but I feel like the chorus on this one really holds it back from the rest of it. But it kind of works together. It's just not as good as some of the rest of these songs. Then we go with Brand New 911 or 911. This one is pretty good to me. I like the jazz sample that Joey uses, and I think the West Side Gun, like he uses their sound effects, they kind of get a little out of control at the beginning, but I think when West Side Gun actually starts, like he's on the feature, I think it works because they're like similar artists and the beat fits West Side Gun as it does Joey. So I think that one works. Then we go to Cruise Control. I think this is a really good song. I think the beat and Joey's vocals with the chorus, they all sound really good, and it's like kind of more of like a chill song, more similar to like Love Is Just a Feeling or Love Is More Than a Feeling. I don't know what that song's called, but that one by Joey. And then there's a Nas outro at the end of it, which kind of shows that Joey does get a lot of respect in like just the New York community from New York legends like Nas, or I don't know any other ones, but like that you know, respect Joey. But I'm saying like Nas has respect for Joey, and Joey has like respect from a lot of these New York legends like Nas. Then we go to Eulogy. I think this song has great production, and the chorus and each verse flow together well, and the beat shifts after the second chorus to a harder hitting beat, and then Joey's like vocals are like pitched up a little bit, which I think it sounds pretty good, and it kind of works. It's just like a little different from the rest of the song, but I still think it's a pretty solid song overall. Then we go to Zip Code. This is one of the singles. I think the beat is really solid on this one, and Joey flows over it. And then there's like callbacks from Joey in this song to like MF Doom and stuff, which is someone he worked with during 1999. So I think that's a pretty cool callback, just like, you know, he's bringing back the 1999 stuff. And then the outro is also like really nice to go into the next one. Like it works is what I'm saying. Then One of Us I like the sample in this one, and then it's like a good high pitched voice, which gives like, I don't know, it gives a whole change to the beat. And then Joey's voice, I like Joey's first voice, and I think the Larry June verse is also pretty good, but just a little bit slow because Joey's like going so much quicker on the chorus and on the verse, and then Larry's June's verse is like a little bit slower, which, you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of. But either way, it does work, and I think the outro of this song goes perfectly into the next song. I mean, that's kind of the point of it. It's like a phone call or a voicemail or whatever. Then Welcome Back. It is a perfect lead-in from the last song. I think the first Joey verse is really good, and it kind of like works together. But then the chorus and just Chris Brown being on the song just doesn't work because his voice is like so auto-tuned, and it just does not fit like any other part of the song. And then Capella Gray, like it also doesn't work with that because Chris Brown is just kind of overpowering him for a lot of the choruses. And I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of it. This is definitely the worst track on the entire album. I don't think it's very good at all just because of Chris Brown and Capella Gray. not saying it's Capella Gray's fault. But the next one is Show Me. I think this is one of the best tracks on the whole album. I really like this one. The sample that Joey uses is really amazing, and I think it works perfectly for the beat and just for the chorus. It just like, it's a beautiful sounding sample, and it just really works together. And then it's just like a kind of a laid back song, which I think there are a couple laid back songs, which I do really like on this album. And it's not just like the hard hitting, like New York type beats. The next one is Wanna Be Loved. I think this one is also another laid back song that I really like. I think the chorus is also pretty solid, but it's like a little bit different from the rest of the song. And then like it doesn't really sound like the verses from JID and Joey Badass. But I think JID, he really puts his effort into this verse. I mean, I feel like a lot of times JID just does go like too fast rapping. It's kind of like the Eminem thing where it's like you're just rapping to rap fast. But I think this one, JID sounds really nice. And I think the outro also like fits the song and like adds to it, doesn't take away. Then we got Head High. I think this one also is pretty nice. They got the samples and the subject matter, and it kind of just all works together. Joey's got guilt of like all the people that have died, which I feel like is a really weird thing because all these people that like that know Joey, they all died, and he's like the only one surviving, which is kind of crazy to me. But he's like moving up the totem pole while all of them are like kind of like falling behind, like Capital Steez and then X and like MF Doom and Junior B, and like all these people have died while he's just keeping on moving up. The same thing with Survivor's Guilt. It's kind of like how he feels guilt for Junior B and Capital Steez's death, especially Capital Steez, because they were not on the greatest terms when I think he died. And I feel like he feels like it's a little bit of his fault, which it's really sad because it's just like, imagine your friend and the last time like you're ever talking to them is on a bad term. Like, I don't know, that just doesn't feel good to me. And then it's just like, kind of like how you should celebrate every day because you never know when it's all going to end. You only live once. And then Written in the Stars, I think this is a great outro. I think the beat is amazing. And it's just kind of like one big verse and then an outro. And I feel like it all works well. And it's kind of like the perfect closer for this whole album. And I feel like this album just overall is a really great album. Is it the album of the year? I don't think so. But I definitely think it's a contender. It might be one of the best rap albums of the year. So I'm going to be giving this one an 8 out of 10. This is very good. And I think one of the best albums of the year. And in no way, like I feel like no way I was expecting Joey to make an album of this caliber, but it really is pretty close to 1999. I'll have to re-listen to that to see which one's better. But I definitely think this is an 8 out of 10. It's a very good album. Thank you, Joey, for putting this one out. You really made a great album.